Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to, yet again, another review. Or, well, technically this is going to be an overall thoughts video on Inuyashiki. That is right, I am finally back with Inuyashiki. I know I missed last week's episode, but in today's video, I'm going to be giving my overall thoughts for last week's episode of Inuyashiki, which was episode 9, and this week's episode, which is episode 10. So without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so when it comes down to these two episodes of Inuyashiki, all I gotta say is that these episodes have been pure entertainment. They really have. They really have. They are really good episodes, and honestly, when it comes down to my personal, favorite anime of the season, of the winter 2017 season, personally, I think I have to go with Inuyashiki, because just the level of entertainment that I have been getting from this show, while, it's not really that complex of a story, and necessarily, it's not that much different from other shows that handle things with this genre, how far can you go until you become, a monster, opposed to being a human, the good and evil sort of aspect of it. I mean, there is a lot of, cliches and tropes that Inuyashiki does follow, but just the amount of entertainment that I have been getting from it, I've been really, really enjoying it. So when it comes down to episode 9 of Inuyashiki, what we see in that episode is that Hiro basically declares war amongst Japan. He knows that he is not going to be able to escape the military, the government, etc., in Japan. He knows that people are going to be coming after him, so the only way that he can really get out of the situation that he is already in at this point is for him to kill every last person who resides in Japan. And in a given day, he kills more than 100 people. He ends that quota there. He does end up killing 100 people. He ends right there and declares amongst the survivors, who didn't get shot, within the area that he was shooting at, he announces to all of Japan that starting the very next day, he will be killing over 1,000 people per day. And yeah, but this episode just basically just showed how terrifying Hiro is. How much of a weapon, how much he has gone from being a human now. Like, he is legitimately a robot. He is a legit killing machine. That's necessarily what he is at this point. And I mean, it's not only that, it's just that, the amount of disregard that he has for human life is just, there's no turning back from this. There's no turning back from this. There is no sense of redemption for Hiro whatsoever, I'ma tell you. He kills so many people within these most recent episodes, and it's just like, damn. It really sucks, because in the next episode, which is episode 10, I seriously got 9/11 vibes. Like, I really did. Like, everyone in America knows what happened on September 11th. And when it came down to what Hiro did the very next day, which happens in episode 10, what we see from Hiro is just like, holy shit, he is literally recreating 9/11, but amongst in Japan. Obviously you didn't have dozens of planes falling from the sky and whatnot, but planes crashing into buildings and shit like that, and also people trapped in, the buildings. It was hard for them to breathe. They're trying to break out of the buildings in order to survive. They think they can literally jump on over to the next building, and be safe. Like, whew. Like, I mean, when it comes down to this episode of Inuyashiki, I don't really know if it's going to spark any sort of controversy, just because of, 9/11 was a very, impactful day for America, and not in a good way. And there are a lot of people who lost families during that day, and it is definitely a very sensitive topic to even discuss, in today, because it was just such a big, loss for everyone. So, when it came down to this episode, I know this is anime and whatnot, but I'm just saying, when it comes down to the vibes I got, I was just like, holy shit. I really hope this isn't going to cause a stir, for the mangaka, as well as various other people, because the amount of similarities between some of the shit that was happening, it was like, whoa, whoa. Minus the robots, of course. But yeah, I mean, we literally saw airplanes falling down from the sky because Hiro is able to control technology. Because he is a cyborg, after all. He is able to, you know, manipulate machinery, as well as Inuyashiki. Oh, and I gotta say really quick before I forget, when it comes down to Inuyashiki finally using the bang, yo, I got hyped during that part. I was like, yo, he finally used it, because I was waiting for him to actually use that, you know, to his very own. He also did the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yo, I was... Ooh, when we saw that fight, you know that was hype. You know that was hype. That was a good moment in the episode. I really liked that. But, anyways, regarding what happens in the episode, a lot of people end up dying. A lot of people end up dying. A lot of September 11th vibes that I got from this episode. And we also got to see a very emotional scene with Inuyashiki and his daughter. And that was when we almost came to realize that, hey, you know what, the daughter is dead. The daughter is dead. And I honestly really thought that the daughter was dead. Now, I did for a moment think that she would, you know, get back up quicker. But, you know, I mean, she does survive in this episode. She does survive. But how it just showed that scene, I was like, damn. She is really not getting up, and you see Inuyashiki not being able to actually revive, you know, her daughter, because, you know, he is actually able to revive people with the help of his powers, the, you know, technology that is implemented into his body, but he couldn't really do that for her. If anything, he is only able to revive people if they're on the verge of death, but from what it looked like, his daughter was actually dead, you know, because he could not revive her. But I guess through human effort, necessarily, you know, using CPR and whatnot, he was actually able to bring his daughter, resuscitate her back to life, necessarily. So it's like, it's kind of symbolic in the sense, because we know that Inuyashiki and Hiro are technically, you know, machines at this point. They are beyond human. However, technology, you know, can't be depended on 24/7, because what happens when that technology eventually breaks down? That technology, you know, is no longer, you know, going to be of use necessarily. So you're going to rely on human efforts. And what we saw in this episode was exactly that. You know, Inuyashiki was using, you know, everything he could as a human being to try to bring back his daughter back to life. Sorry that I'm talking too fast, but yeah, when it came down to that, it was very symbolic in a sense, kind of like a little bit ironic as well, and that's what I really enjoyed about the episode, because when it came down to that scene, and not only it was emotional, but it also had meaning. So just seeing Inuyashiki finally being able to actually reunite with his daughter, again, that was a very good scene, and putting her back to safely, I liked, as well as him, you know, trying to go look for other people as well, you know, and help them out. See, this is the thing that, you know, it differs between Inuyashiki and Hiro. You know, Inuyashiki is willingly able to go out and search for injured people. He wants this because he, you know, literally sees every single human life as something special, something unique that is in the world, and that he is willing to protect. While Hiro, on the other hand, Hiro just cares about life only if it pertains to him. Yes, early on, we saw Hiro in episode like 7 or 8, him healing other people, but that was only because the girl that was, you know, had a crush on him, you know, wanted him to do that, you know, as a sense of redemption for himself. But Hiro, inside, was willingly not wanting to do that. He was doing that for her sake, not his sake. So that's where Inuyashiki and Hiro differ. And even despite that, Hiro goes off on another killing spree, you know, so I mean, that is the biggest difference. And just seeing how Inuyashiki states at the very end that, you know what, my life was made right here. I became a cyborg for this given reason, to protect as many people as I could. So I really liked that speech that he gave off at the end. Now, when it came to the confrontation between Inuyashiki and Hiro in this episode, you know, the final battle of sorts, which technically this isn't the final battle yet because we still got one more episode of Inuyashiki, but regarding the final confrontation between Inuyashiki as well as Hiro when they were battling it out with each other, it was very cool on how exactly, you know, the whole fight played out, especially when both of them went unconscious, you know, and it was just the machines necessarily battling it out against them, you know. But the thing is that even though the scene was pretty cool with them fighting, I did see a lot of derps in the animation that really did not look the best, and I'm pretty sure many of us can agree on that, because when it comes to CGI and anime, it doesn't really particularly look the best at times, and, you know, when it comes to Inuyashiki, that is no exclusion right here. But it wasn't, you know, like, terrible. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like, oh, I want to drop this series right now because I can't handle the presentation of what this anime provides. No, it was nothing like that. It was just, you know, a little bit of derps here and there that just kind of didn't really, I guess, give off the overall impact that we wanted, you know, because usually when you go with the final battle, you know, with a hero versus a villain in a series, you want to make that shit look good because it's the final battle. You want to make it as spectacular as you can so you can end that series, you know. But regarding what we see at the very end, we do know that Hiro was technically finished off from Inuyashiki. Inuyashiki ripped off the back of his head and cast it aside. However, I believe that the mechanical part, which is literally, I guess, you know, the sensor in a way, the thing that moves around in the head, that is the thing that you need to destroy in order to kill Inuyashiki or Hiro for that matter, because that is technically what is operating their bodies necessarily. So what we see at the very end regarding Hiro in the streets, he is still alive, and he's like, Mizu, which is water. I need water. And these two girls come up to him, find him. I guess they're completely clueless that he looks like I don't know why, you know, regarding the thing in the back of the head didn't freak them out, but I mean, whatever, anime. So, regarding what happens there, he eventually gets juice, I guess. Not water from these two girls, but juice, and the episode cuts off right there. So in next week's episode, we're obviously going to see the final confrontation between Inuyashiki and Hiro as they are going to go at it finally. But then again, there is still the asteroid that is coming down to Earth that needs to be taken into consideration in there as well. I'm surprised they haven't really focused on that too much. So yeah, what's going on with that? Also, what happens if Inuyashiki, or even Hiro for that matter, receives juice rather than water? You know, if they chug down like a soda or a juice or something like that, does it like haywire their, you know, mechanical bodies and make it out in erratic behavior or something like that? Does it strengthen them of sorts, or like what goes on there, you know? So I'm very curious. Or do they basically operate the same? Because in a sense, juice, you know, has water in it. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, this was probably a very long video because this was just, you know, giving my overall thoughts of the past two episodes of Inuyashiki, which I thought were very, very entertaining. And honestly, like, I've been having a blast with this series. But I'm really interested to see what's going to happen at the very end because they haven't really put a lot of focus on the asteroid and whatnot. And they really should have, because now I feel as though the ending is going to be rushed. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. And with that said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.